Hey kids, Dave here, and I owe you guys a video. It's been a couple of months since we did our big electrical refit, and I promised to have a follow-up. Now that we've used the system at anchor, underway, in Marinas, got a pretty good overview and pretty good story to tell you.
Yep, we're finally spilling the beans on our massive electrical refit. The lithium, the solar, the pilot house, all of it. And now we can tell you what works and what doesn't. If we haven't met before, I'm Jen, and this is Dave, a Colorado couple who swapped snow boots for scuba fins aboard our Nordhavn 55. So welcome, and don't forget to hit that like button and smash subscribe so you can follow right along our journey.
Now, I will forewarn most of you, this will be either the most boring video you've ever seen, and you're not going to make it past right about here, or this could be the most exciting video of your boat geek life. I'll let you guys decide. Go ahead and turn it off if you want, but the following is going to be pretty technical. It's at least as technical as I'm going to go. And let's go start off in the lazarette. Let's start off with what we had done first, and then we'll compare to what we had and if we like it better or worse. So right off the bat, let's go to the batteries. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8 Epoch batteries. Those are 24 volt, 230 amp hours. That gives us a total of 1,840 amps. That's pretty cool. Now you'll notice these are all labeled. They got the lights on. They're even heated if they get too cold. Look at the wiring back there. Each of these batteries has to have the exact same cable length to the negative bus bar and the positive bus bar. The wiring work that they did, I think, is fantastic and second to none. The labels are on every single wire there is. The lugs are all witness marked with the bolts. They're all torqued down. They were temped. These things just did a fantastic job. Batteries, negative bus bar, positive bus bar. Look at this. We have 8 Class T fuses, 300 amps each. These protect each and every single battery. Up here to the negative bus bar comes over. This is the shunt, the Victron shunt. That's just a fancy name to tell you how many amps are going in and out of the battery. And that's that. And that'll give us information up in the pilot house. This little switch right there just cuts the whole darn thing off. You got a runaway battery or something's going wrong, just flip it off. Up here, we have our 3 solar controllers. MPPTs. We got port, middle, starboard. We have 3 panels up there. They're 475 watts each. We have a controller for each panel. I highly recommend you guys do that. And then the little fuse box over to the USB extender, and then that'll send a Ethernet cable up to the pilot house for the servo. These were the original switches. This is pretty much standard on all Nordhavns. This panel was a rotary switch for each of the battery banks. They took those off because we have it over there. We have separate engine batteries, separate house batteries, and then separate Gen Wing engine batteries. If I were to come back over here, I can show you Lifeline AGM batteries, and those are for the main engine. Start the main engine. That's all they do. Those 2 right there. There's another set on the other side just for the wing engine and the generator. We can parallel these. So let's say you show up, the generator battery has died. You can't start the generator. We can parallel and use the house battery to connect over and start up the gen or the wing. Here's the rest. Notice everything. Every single cable in, cable out, all labeled. Quattros, slaves, masters, alternator, panel feed, autopilot, starboard and port, because we have 2. We have the extra Skyla charger. We even have it separate A&L for the davit and the solar panel in this area. Both the Quattros. We went with 230 volt, 5K Victron Quattros. We have dual, so we have a master and a slave. Run those both together. And then over here, we've got our auto transformer. And then check out this cool little box. If you've ever had any work done on your boat, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's exceptional. Look at this. You'll notice that the power comes in 240 volt from the shore or the generator. Every single cable is wired and witness marked, even these tiny little ones. Comes from the shore generator, goes to Quattro, then it comes out of the Quattros, then back over to this auto transformer, and that protects the system and balances all out. What amazing work they did here, wiring all this up. And then up here in this panel, we have our Skyla 100 amp charger And once again, a couple of lifelines back there for the wing and the gen. That's what they did back here. Let's go to the engine room. I'll show you what else is going on in there. This is our engine room. If you haven't been down here, we have a single screw John Deere Lugger 1276, which provides 340 horsepower. We have 2 alternators. So originally, and actually set up now, we have the main alternator, which Lease Neville 170 amp alternator that provides power for the batteries. And then we also have a separate dedicated starter alternator just to power up those 2 batteries I showed you just for the main engine, just like your car basically. The main alternator's over here, and then we added right over my head right there. Hey, there it is. Arco Zeus alternator regulator. Had a wake speed, could not get the batteries to talk to it, so we flipped it over to Arco Zeus and everything worked fantastic. Okay, so here we are up in the pilot house now. It's probably not the best lighting for this afternoon, 4 o'clock, sun's going down. Remember, we had a lot of things added on last second because Dave's OCD. So let's talk about some of the changes, and if I like them, I'll just cut to the chase. Oh, the pilot house now. Not much more I would change, although there's always something you can change, right? Jen went out and got little labels for everything. So all the labels, believe it or not, nothing was labeled. I thought that's kind of weird. You know, you've got the panels, and everyone knows that that's a main engine panel, but it's not really labeled. So now we put some labels on. There's a generator. If someone walks on and needs to start it up, at least they know where to go. There's a water maker panel right next to the water gauge. Black tank, gray tank. This is where we probably went a little overboard, but basically I added 2 19-inch screens up there. These are just monitors, and I've got USB-C and HDMI running off of both of them. So on this one, I've got the CCTV, and I've got it with a mouse, so I can actually just start clicking through all the different viewpoints. That's always being recorded on a nice big hard drive. I like that. It's nice. Over here on this TV, I've just got her wired right now for just Apple TV. Pretty neat. But while I'm cruising around, I can listen to songs, I can put on my Amazon Music, I can watch some college football. What I also did was these speakers in the back are flipping awesome, and I wired them up to a Bluetooth amplifier. So that's Bluetoothed over to the Apple TV. Sounds great. Added some fans. I still got space over there if I need to put something over there. I don't know, maybe I'll add something over there. Down here, remember we had some panels over here for the water maker and the old inverter. So we had some big holes. Instead of spending money, we just had this plaque done. Jen did. I thought it was pretty cool. Some etched glass. That looks really nice. Added a little port for USB-C. It's a little wonky, but I still like it. Put the microphones right next to the comms. There's our Turbo GX. This is one of the screens we added. 19-inch screen. It's running off the iPad. I can put anything from Windy, PredictWind, Navionics. I've got Aquamaps on right now because we came in through this really shallow area, and honestly, just seeing color when you're going up and down the ICW, when you can just see some color, it makes a big difference. Just did a Bluetooth mouse. So I've got the white mouse for the CCTV, the black mouse for this screen, that iPad, and then I can, while we're cruising around, so nice. If we want to go look at it, you know, the same stuff you have on your iPad, but now having it on the big screen. A couple other things we did. You'll see the apparent wind over here. Added a PredictWind data hub. So we get AIS targets on here. We also are in the NEMA network, so we pull down the the winds and everything. See the depths flashing at me right now. I like this a lot. We use this quite often. I don't know how many boaters know this, but so the iPad, you get 2 choices, right? Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi plus cellular. The Wi-Fi plus cellular gives you a little GPS chip. Okay, yay. So everyone goes out and buys that for a couple $100 more, so you have GPS in it. And it does, and it works. But if you've noticed, if you've ever cruised around the ICW, or you're all of a sudden your app is not keeping up with you on the iPad or the phone, and you're like, what's going on? I'm getting to this critical point, and my boat's like 300 yards behind me. What's happening is the Apple iPad senses that you're going so slow that you're not really moving, and it goes into battery saver mode and cuts the GPS locator off. So our boats kind of go slow, sometimes 8 knots, sometimes 6 knots. But Apple has said, we're going to put it into battery saving mode so you don't get the GPS updates as often. So you need that, right? So what's the fix to that? This is something we used to use all the time in the airplanes. Some pilots still use them, but hold on, let me get it here. This is the newer version. This is a bad elf. That's it, bad elf. That's it, bad elf. That sucker tracks up to 33 satellites at one time, a couple of $100, and then I Bluetooth it to all devices. So yeah, it's like having another GPS on the boat. We've got plenty of GPSs on this boat. That sucker never goes bad. It just locks in, and it can turn it on, keep it plugged in over there. And so now the iPad can use Bluetooth to get its GPS location, can use the data hub from PredictWind for the AIS and the other stuff, and then also for the apps, and it really works out well. I like it a lot. Not too much I would change with that. We added another RDS screen, just so we have 3 of them, but it's nice and clean. Went from having everything all over the place. But look at this. Hey, there's a hailer button, right? Pretty simple. There's a horn button. And we even had, this is our hydraulic panel, so even had some name tags over here for that. And then there's a chain counter right next to where the windlass button is. That makes sense. Now I'm happy. All right, so that's what we did in the pilot house. Enough of that. So let's talk about the big stuff. We spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money to convert this boat over to lithium and solar. Was it worth it? Would we do it again? Yeah, yes and yes and yes. After having it for a couple of months, let's put a couple of scenarios out there. If you have a boat or a boater, you'll know what we're talking about. You leave the marina, you're gonna go head north for the summer, and you're making a couple of stops. We throw the anchor, we're at 100% batteries, and we have 1,840 amps. We wake up in the morning after using everything like we normally do, and we're sitting at 78%. Huh, okay. Crank up the engines and go. And we do that, we can consistently go like that for a couple of weeks and never start the generator. Battery powers everything. Well, let's say we find a place we want to hang out for a couple of nights. All right, 2 nights on the hook. We pull in, we're at 100%. Next day, we're down to 78. Day after that, maybe down to 60, 50, something like that, depending on how much we're using. After a couple of nights, we take off, charge it back up with the engine. That works out pretty nice. Don't even think about it. Now, granted, this is northeast, late summer, early fall, and we really don't need an air conditioning. You know, yeah, it might hit 75 during the day, but at nighttime it's in the 50s. It's pretty comfortable. We'll discuss more when we hit the tropics here in a couple of months. Another scenario, which we ran into, we were in Port Washington and grabbed the mooring ball there. We needed to go back to Denver. We left for 5 days. We left it on the ball, came back, not a problem, 28, 30%. And I left a lot of stuff on that I normally would not leave on for that. Just sort of test it out too, by the way. So we, like our normal stuff, fridge, freezer, bilge pumps, that sort of thing is always on. Left the Starlink on. That's kind of a draw too. So, but I left the Starlink on because I wanted to keep the new CCTVs on. I wanted to see what's going on with the boat and also our interior cameras. And I wanted to hook up to our Victron Servo GX, which I have an app for, and I can watch the battery power and see what's going on with the battery and the solar and everything. And so I had something to do while, you know, I was gone, but I could watch the battery every day and see that it was doing just fine. And that was really nice to just be able to leave it for about a week on a ball and not have to worry, and it was perfect. Let's talk about another scenario. So if we're going to go to a marina for one night, we pull in, we're obviously topped off at 100%. They say, hey, want some shore power? And we say, nah, no thanks, we're good. You are? Yeah. We just saved 15 bucks, woohoo! Now, It's $15 now at most places. Some places it's 20, some places it's 25. I've seen it by the meter. If we're at a marina for a night or two, I don't plug in. And then you have to start doing the math. So 5 nights at $15, you know, $75 or whatever. Do we want to plug in or not? That's when you look at the weather. If it's hot, you're just going to be running the AC in all zones the whole day. You might as well just plug in. Let's talk about that. What can we run off our new batteries? Well, we can run the entire panel, which means everything on the boat. We can run everything on the boat off the inverters and the batteries. Now, should we? Could we? Will we? Probably not. You don't want to run a scuba dive compressor and the water maker and water heaters and all that just in 4 zones of air conditioning. Because 1, it's too much for the inverters all at one time, but 2 is you're just going to blow through the battery storage. But if you're smart, you can just use 1 zone of AC at nighttime while you're sleeping. That's pretty cool to be able to use everything all the time, 24/7. A lot of boats, the way this one was set up, the 240 panel was not operable unless you had the generator or shore power. So while we're cruising underway, you had full batteries. You didn't really want to crank up the generator just for an AC unit. So let's get back to the AGM versus lithium conversation there for a second. And what is the big deal? Why is AGM so bad? AGM's not bad. It's been around forever. It's trusted. It's going to work great. And by the way, when we're talking lithium, let's just all agree that we're talking about LiFePO, LiFePO, lithium iron phosphate. If you want, we can go back to 11th grade chemistry class. Li, lithium, Fe, iron, PO, phosphate. Lithium iron phosphate. That's what we're talking about. So, lithium versus AGM. Okay, AGM batteries. We had 1,080 amps of usable power, of battery power with the AGMs. Now it's 1,080 at a full 100% charge when they're brand new out of the box. Lifeline tells you, and most other AGM manufacturers, don't go below 50%. You're going to really deplete the usage in your batteries and shorten the lifespan. So now my batteries only have 540 usable amps. Well, that sucks. And that's when they're brand new out of the box, kids. After a couple of years, you're not getting that. 540, and that depletes every year. And then by year 7, you're talking maybe 300 amps. That's about what we were getting off those AGMs. You can only use 50% of an AGM battery. Lithium doesn't care. Drive it on down to 0, no big deal. That's usage. Number 2, let's talk about charging. This is the big conundrum. This is a big problem. With AGM batteries, you have a 3-stage charging cycle. So you run the batteries down to 50%. It's time to kick on the generator. You kick the generator on. Okay, so it starts bulk charging. Yay, we're adding all that juice in. And then after a while, a couple hours, it's going to get up to about 80%, and it's going to change over to absorption mode. And now it's going to try to top off, and then it's going to go to float mode for a couple hours. Think of it as filling up a big glass with soda. You start pouring it all in, and then you have to stop. And then you just try to fill it up a little bit more at a time, and then right when it gets to the top, you're just sort of just barely filling it up a little bit to try to really top it off because it fizzes up. Well, AGM batteries don't fizz, but you get what I'm talking about. So in a normal cycle, what AGM tells you to do, this is what you're supposed to do if you have AGM batteries. Drive it down to 50%, start up the generator, charge it, let it bulk charge, let it go through the absorption phase. Right now for our boat, that used to take at least 3 to 4 hours, and then let it float for about another 3 to 4 hours. And that's right. You're supposed to float it off for about 3 to 4 hours. You're talking about 7 to 8 hours every time you need to charge up the batteries. That sucks. But that's not the worst of it, kids. Let me tell you why. So you're using a generator to charge it up. Okay. This boat has a 20 kilowatt generator. That's a pretty nice size. And if needed, that could power everything on the boat. So what happens is when it goes to charging of the batteries, yeah, it takes a lot of amperage off the generator. Generator's doing a great job, it's lifting the load and charging those batteries. And then it goes to the absorption phase, and then it kicks back a little bit, and then you're at the float phase, and you got the generator running, and you're barely taking anything off the generator. Now, Lugger Bob, you guys know Lugger Bob from Northern Lights, says the worst thing in the world you can do for your generator is to run it without a load on it. Why? You get a lot of carbon buildup in the exhaust elbow. It's horrible for your generator to run your generator without a load. And what do I mean by a load? At least 50 to 60%. Preferably much more than that, but at least 60% or so for your generator. Well, we've got a big old 20 kilowatt generator, which means it can put out 83.3 amps at 240 volts, which means I got to throw at least 50 amps. Whoo! I don't have enough stuff on my boat to keep that generator going. I mean, if I turned on all of the air conditioning units, and that's the whole thing. So you're using the generator to charge up the batteries, and let's say it's a nice day out. Let's say you're in Rhode Island, it's 62 degrees. Okay, now they're going into float mode or absorb mode, and you're looking at the generator, and you're like, oh, I got to add some items to get the generator load up. What do I add? Oh, let's turn the air conditioner on. Then the admiral starts yelling at me for cranking up the air conditioning when it's 60 degrees outside, which I don't blame her. It's kind of silly. Oh, how about we turn the water maker on? Well, we're in the middle of a lot of times the brackish water. I want to turn the water maker on, and we got a full tank of water. We don't need it. What do you do? So you're running this generator now, 4 hours at float, and you have nothing to put on that generator. So boat manufacturers, they build the generator to size, they size the generator to, to run everything on the boat if you need it. You'll see a lot of people with a smaller generator, so they'll have two gens, a main generator, and then sometimes I'll call it a night generator. Like if we had a 20, I've seen other boats like throw a 6K generator on there. So you got a 6 kilowatt generator on there, and okay, you use that at night for air conditioning, or you use it to charge up, and then what you find out is you use the 6 kilowatt almost all the time. You never run the big one. There's a lot of boats running around there with oversized generators that just don't get loaded up, and they have problems. And if you don't know what the problem is, wait until that exhaust elbow burst on you. And what happens is that carbon builds up, and then it melts through the iron, the steel, whatever it is, excuse me. And then that exhaust elbow goes, and now you got big problems. So then you're replacing the exhaust elbow all the time. So it's just bad for the generator. So it just doesn't make sense. That whole generator AGM thing just does not make sense. And it's a real pain in the ass. So you're out in the Bahamas, you wake up in the morning, your batteries are dead, you go to crank it up, you're sitting there having coffee, checking some emails. It's time to go paddleboard and go explore, and everyone's all sunscreened up, get in the dinghy, and I'm like, okay, I need to go turn the generator off, but it's only been running like 2 hours. It's only up to like 80%. Well, that is bad for the AGM batteries. They don't like that at all. AGM batteries, if you want them to last a long time, at 100%, drive them down to 50, charge them back up to 100, let them sit there for a couple hours, rinse and repeat. That's what they like. And that is a huge pain in the ass and a huge inconvenience on lifestyle. When you just want to go play and go have fun at the beach, and you're sitting there babysitting your flipping batteries in your generator because you got to do the right thing. Now, yes, you can add an auto start and an auto stop on your generator. There's a controversy about that too. Lots of boats have them, big boats have them, but now your generator's kicking on all the time, and that was the biggest thing for me. It was just a lifestyle. It didn't fit our lifestyle to be turning this. It felt like I was a slave to the batteries and the generator and the charging cycle. I just felt like I had to hurry back to the boat to start up a battery, to start up a generator. I needed to not do this or not do that. And we were constantly thinking about the batteries. Now, I forget all about them, which might be bad too, but I don't even think about it. So now, we just have batteries and they power everything, and it's great. All right, so we talked about charging the AGM batteries with a generator. What about the new Lithium LiFePO batteries? Well, the dual 5K Quattro inverters can charge, and they'll charge up at about 220 amps total per hour, which isn't bad. We have 1840 amps, so if we killed the batteries completely and wanted to charge them up, it would take us 8 or 9 hours to charge them all the way back up. But that's the beauty of it. You can charge up some of it, 10%, 20%, 30%, then kick the generator off. We did add a Skyla charger, which adds an additional 100 amps per hour. So when the generator runs, I can kick the Skyla on. So I've got the charger and the inverters. So now I can throw in about 320, 340 amps per hour. So if we're down 50%, that'll take us, let's do some math. It'll take us about 2.5 hours. Everyone wants to know, Dave, what to set you back? How many kidneys did you have to sell? How your OnlyFans account doing? It's not doing very well. It was expensive. I will say it was expensive. I'm not going to sit here and pencil out how many years, months, days, whatever it's going to take me to recoup, because for us it was just a huge increase in lifestyle. The ability to not have to think and worry about the batteries and not have to be a slave to the generator and the charging cycles of an AGM are, to me, the biggest benefit ever. I didn't even talk to you about the solar, but that solar kicking in all day long while we're at anchor out playing, we come back and we actually have an extra 2 or 3% battery because of the solar took care of it. It's not we're not just going to sit here on solar or run the whole boat off solar by any means, but it's really nice. Especially, remember I was telling you we're sitting on a ball for 5 days away from the boat? Solar, it's great. Really impressed with the solar, so I'm glad we did that. I wouldn't add any more batteries. No need to do that. Storage is enough. 1980 or 1840 amps for this boat is plenty. Throwing another couple batteries on there isn't going to increase our livability or lifestyle any. Probably should have gone to a higher, bigger size inverter charger. I probably should have done the dual 8K Quattros instead of the 5K. That would charge them up a little bit quicker and also give me a little bit more power when I'm running off just the inverter. Granted, we've been testing this new system in some really nice weather months. So we were playing around up in Connecticut, Rhode Island. In Rhode Island in September, it's not exactly roasted. So we weren't running a lot of air conditioning, and at nighttime it's windows open. Once we hit the tropics, the islands, we'll see how that goes. But generally, we don't run the air conditioning a lot during the day anyway. But let's go back to the cost. I forgot, we're talking about cost. It's going to cost you some money. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much. I can tell you the batteries alone are probably going to be about 20 grand. The inverters, another 5K. The solar, 5K. The labor, listen, you guys can try to kid yourself into thinking you can do this yourself. The work that these guys did, the ABYC master electricians that were on board, I can't do that. I mean, no, I'm not even going to be close. And the reason I wouldn't even attempt it, even if I studied up and figured out how to crimp wires, I know how to crimp wires and how to follow electrical diagrams. It's way beyond what I would want to do. The amount of work. When I said they did 6 weeks of 3 to 4 guys. Electricians, you can go look up and down the East Coast or West Coast, wherever you are, $140 an hour. If they're certified. If they're not certified, you're talking about 110, even some of the helpers. So you're going to have to put some hours in there. It's a big cost, but it's worth it to me. Did it increase the value of the boat? I don't care. I'm never selling this thing. It's my boat, so I don't have to worry about resale value. We don't think like that because it's our house, it's our boat. We're not reselling it unless you make me a really nice offer. And there's a 68 out there I'm looking at. But other than that, we're not selling it. When we were finished, look at this. Diagrams, full-on diagrams of our boat, from the batteries to the Quattros, to the chargers, to the solar, and then over here, where the shunts are, on-off switches, and also the communications. Who talks to who, where it goes, Quattro fans, how they're wired in, how the lift motor is, the solar fuses. I've shown this to other boaters, anyone who's looking to do this, and good quality work. Once again, big shout out, Patrick, Corey, Joel, Alex, all over at Marine Electrical Systems in Annapolis. They do it right. So they're starting to book up though. I think I've told too many people. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I spend that kind of money? Sure, why not? Can't take it with me, and I'm not going to give it to the kids. It's going to increase our livability on the boat, and that's why we got the boat. We got the boat to go have some fun. We didn't get it to worry about other stuff. So that's the rant for the day. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you geeked out. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them to me, and I'll try to give you the right ones, or at least I'll find someone that can probably help you out with the right ones. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, smash, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.